Google Documents is a simple, and I'm using the word simple, online version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I know a lot of people say, oh, I've got to have Word, I've got to have Word, and I say, well, why? Are you using the clip art function? Are you using this? Do you use styles? Do you use, well, no, I'm just going to type some notes. So there's a lot of stuff that Word brings in that's just, I mean, a lot of power in it, yes, but for 90% of the people, I don't need it. I just need someplace to type a letter. Like my mom, okay? My mom does not need to launch Microsoft Word. She's older. Firing up the computer and getting the browser working, the day's a complete success. All right? So now to say, oh, you have to load up Microsoft Word, et cetera, that doesn't work so well. Here, it's very easy because she can set this up. And then the nice thing, too, is you can share these documents that you create. I'm just going to start off very simple. We'll go in what they call document, which is basically Word. So we see the same stuff you see, save, print, undo, paste, copy. You have different styles, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. The basic stuff. This is my wonderful activity of stuff. Now I'm going to hit save here, and that becomes my new title. And I can rename it. There is a rename function and stuff like that. Where this kind of stuff shines is in the actual sharing of information. So I'm going to share this with somebody. Now there's a couple of ways I can share. I can just email this as an attachment, which means they get a copy of it in their email. And you know what, just for the heck of it, I'm just going to do that right now, and I'm going to choose Clark here. And here's the nice thing. You can save it or send it as a Word document, a PDF, or just text. By default, it shows the Word document. So I'm just going to leave that there and fire that off. Unless you enter one, what? I don't use OpenOffice. I use this. Unless you enter one here, the message will not include a personal note from you. Oh yeah, okay. So I've sent that off. I'll come back to this in a little bit. I can also download this as HTML, OpenOffice, PDF, RTF, text, and Word. So it gives you different options. One of the nice things about documents is that you can upload Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, and it will convert it. Now, not necessarily pretty. It won't be as pretty as what you had, but it will convert it. If all you're worried about is just the actual meat, the words of it, there's nothing wrong with this. This is not an application I would suggest if you're trying to do a book or you know, pretty handouts and stuff like that. You can do it, but it just takes a lot more work. For this kind of stuff, it's really important that you have in mind that all you're going to be doing is just sharing the text and stuff. So you can see there's the basic commands that we have in. I can insert graphics and photos and stuff like that and put that in there. I'm going to go over to visit Clark's stuff for a second, and we'll close his calendar off here. And oops, it's this, Teaching Trev. Now I just sent it to me as, remember we just sent it as an email, right? Anytime that Google gets a document with a Microsoft document attached to it, a Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, it will convert it. Watch what happens here. I can view it as HTML. This just means here, we're going to do a quick conversion. This is what it looks like. Not always exactly the same. It's just giving you an approximation. So sometimes people will send me stuff and they'll send me like 3 paragraphs and they'll put it in a Word document. And I'll go, well, why didn't you just paste that into the mail message? Why did you put it in a Word document? That doesn't make sense. Because now I have to go and open the Word document. Here I can preview it, copy it, and then use it as I need to use it. Because all I want is the text. I don't care about the bolding and the rest of it. I just want the text. PowerPoint will also do the same thing. Do you ever get those PowerPoints where they say, you know, load this up, and it plays the music in the background, and you have to sit through 10 minutes of watching this slideshow go through a bunch of puppies and the flowers, right? And it's like, oh my God, I just wasted like 20 minutes of my life. Well, what you can do here is you can actually use this view as HTML function. Now, you don't get the music, you don't get the special effects, but you get the individual slides. So for example, I'm just going to go back to my documents here. Remember at the very beginning I had this presentation was up? We saw this here, and I went through and I talked about it, right? This is what you would get if you got one of those musical ones. It would just be a view like this, and you would just click through, and you could see the pretty puppies and the lovely flowers, and you don't need the music, and you control how fast you go through it. And then if you really, really wanted to go through the music and stuff, you could still download it and view it. That's one of the wonderful powers of this app, the Google Apps, is that it will convert everything like that. I can open this as a Google document, which basically means, okay, I recognize it's a Word document, but I want to open it up into Google Documents as a Word file. And then I can make my own changes, and it becomes my file. Or I'm just going to download the original. So I have all those choices that I can make. For a lot of people, when you're just exchanging pieces of information and stuff, making it your own document is fine. Now, if I open this as a Google document, though, it's my personal document. So Teaching Trev will have a copy. Clark Kent has a copy. Does everyone understand that? That's because we emailed it to Clark. I'm going to go back here and get rid of this. And I'm going to close this window. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to share this. So I'm going to invite some people, and of course let's invite Clark. And he can either view it or he can edit. So we're going to edit this. And I'm just going to send it off. Or how about this? Help me get this organized. So we'll hit send. And I'll save and close. Now, oh, there's a note here. This time I've shared it. Okay, so let's share this now. So we're on Clark Kent's screen. We're sharing the same document. This is my wonderful stuff. Spandex is nice on the skin. Okay, because this is Superman, right? What'll happen, and it takes a second or two, or it may take a minute or two for the connection to make, but you will actually see a little notice here that says, excuse me, Clark Kent is editing this page. In fact, what ends up happening is we'll go back and forth, and it'll say Teaching Trev is also editing now. Teaching Trev. There we go. Eventually, the connection will come up here, and as we make additions and stuff, those additions will show up on the page here. Think of this as collaboration. Any of you do the collaboration thing where you take your document, you email it to someone, they make some changes, send it back to you, etc., etc. You can do this live. It's the same thing. Instead of emailing back and forth, though, the original gets hosted on Google Apps. It's kind of like the P drive. Okay, you put something on the P drive where everyone and their dog has access to it, and anyone can go in and make changes to it. The difference here, though, and you'll notice over here on the Teaching Trev, Spandex is nice on the skin. Also now editing is Clark. I can say, wow, I like that. I'll save now. And in a few minutes, we'll see that show up here. Wow, like that. So I could be on the phone. We could both be editing stuff. You take paragraph 2, I'll take paragraph 3. We'll make the changes, goes through it. The two of you have got a live document. Or you could do it at night. He does it during the day. Doesn't matter because you're working with one document. If you need, under File, Revision History, I can go through and say, okay, that's what it was at this point in time. Let's go back. The original one, oh, it was just that line there. Just like you would in Word. I can even go and highlight 2 items and say, compare them and show me what's changed. You'll see off to the left here, Teaching Trev's in green, Clark Kent, which is me right now because I'm in blue tights fit nice. Clark Kent is blue, and we can see here's what Clark put in. Deletions, changing, all that kind of stuff, just like Microsoft Word. Heck of a lot easier because you're working with one document. You're not emailing different documents all around, which if you've ever done this collaboration thing, you know what a pain that is because it's like, okay, is this the copy I got now? Because the email comes in, you save it to your hard drive. Is this version 5 or 7? And then should I delete this one? But no, I need the changes. You get it all on the cloud there. Any questions on that? So when you're doing that kind of collaboration, you could even work with Gmail here and pull up the chat window. And if you have to, you can type your changes first before you make them live. So you can do all sorts of wonderful back and forth kind of things with it. Okay, so that's word processing.
I do have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
If my students did this, working together on a paper, and I run the paper through Turnitin, will it come back as plagiarism?
I have no idea. I've never done Turnitin. I would assume, but well, how do they normally?
Because Turnitin checks what's been on the web.
Oh, I see. So the question is, does Turnitin, because this is a web page, does it consider that plagiarism? Well, not necessarily, because the only way that Turnitin is going to have access to this particular document is if someone invites them. Right? Because it's a private document at this point. Yep. But thing is, when we're done here, I can export this as a Word document. I hand it in to you, you upload it. You get the final copy, but you don't get any of the working stuff. And I'm willing to bet that I'm willing to bet that Turnitin will not look at this as plagiarism because it is a private Word document. Now, the other thing is you can do some really cool stuff. So, for example, if I'm switching back to my Teaching with Trev account here, I'm just going to close this window. The document that I gave you is called The Magic of Google Applications. That's this document right here. This here bit.ly shortcut takes you to the public version of this page. So, for example, I'm just going to copy this. Because as part of the sharing, I can also publish this as a web page. So I don't have to even worry about creating a website. I just can go and say, make this available to anyone. It gives me a URL to use. And I can take that URL, and just like I've done for you guys, I can put it in on a page. You load it up, and here is just the document. Notice there's none of the editing tools that you get here, because this is just a web viewable version of it. Remember, I also said there's all these lovely links and stuff that you get access to. Here's the links that I was talking about. This is a kind of a neat thing I want to show you. If you just watch, you guys probably can't hear this, but what's going to happen in a second is they're going to start doing editing. There's a document there. They have something like 250 students that come and edit this document to talk about what a vision of students is. So all these students were given free access to come in, edit, change, and do whatever you want on this thing. Watch at the bottom of the screen. So here's the documents created. The first page is there. Add collaborators. It adds the 200 collaborators. Now watch at the bottom, down here. These are all people logging in at different times, editing. Granted, not in real time, as it's probably sped up or something. But you can see the power of this is that you can have a whole group of people, whether at the same time or at different times, coming and editing a document. So if you really wanted to do something like, well, as a very rough survey, you could put a document up there and people would go in and do that. Now, that's just a Word document. Let's quickly go through the other stuff that's available.